So I got a couple of Patreons actually that messaged me and told me to address this Jordan Peterson scandal that is brewing on the Twitter right now. So I'm doing this video more because of them. It's not really a topic that I would necessarily address under any other circumstance because I think it's a nothing burger. But all right, fine. I'll address and I'll tell you exactly what I think. I will probably piss off a couple of other people because I'm just speaking my mind and I'm telling what I think about this. So what is this about? Well, Jordan Peterson apparently is having a very controversial opinion regarding the Kavanaugh case. He thinks that Kavanaugh should step down. And this is one of, I believe, several tweets that he made regarding this issue. And people don't like his opinions. To be honest, I don't like them either. I don't share them whatsoever. I think he is completely wrong on this. I don't think that if a person is accused without any evidence, they have any obligation to step down or to call the authorities to investigate them. I think that is absolute nonsense. And here is where me and Professor Peterson disagree vehemently. However, with that said, there is a tactic that I have seen progressives do a lot. And it's not just progressives, a lot of people on the internet do it as well. And they do it because it's a very effective tactic. This is an immoral tactic that doesn't really adhere to any ideology. It's like a tool, anyone can do it. And it seems to be very effective at taking down people who are speaking and they have a large audience. And the way the tactic works is that the moment the person says something controversial, the moment the person says something that's hypocritical, then basically everyone needs to disavow them. And this can even be done by going into the past and finding if the person said something off the cuffs, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and then you bring that up. It's the same tactic that worked against Milo, by the way, right? Like he says some stupid shit on a live stream, and that is enough to destroy his career. And as I said, like this tactic is used by different ideologies. It doesn't matter, but it's basically like a one-strike rule. And for example, this was done to Milo Yiannopoulos. People found out that he said some disgusting shit on a live stream a couple of years ago, and this should invalidate everything else he ever said. So just because his opinions on pedophilia are abhorrent, and he's not like making speeches championing the removal of age of consent laws, trying to indoctrinate people into accepting pedophilia. No, he just had those off-the-cuff remarks a couple of years ago. Then everything else he says about Islam is also wrong. You know, all of his ideologies, all of his speeches, every stance that he has must be wrong. Now, you can agree or disagree with what Milo did, and you can agree or disagree with the fact that he was being ostracized from right-wing circles over it. But you have to notice the tactic. You have to notice that the tactic is there. And it's extremely effective. And it can work against anyone. Even Jesus. Even Jesus Christ. You can use this tactic against Jesus. Like, you got this man who talks about compassion, love, advocates for nonviolence. And you put Jesus on a trial and you say, well, Jesus, you are cracking the whip at those merchants like there was no tomorrow. You were whipping them like a motherfucker. You know, you say you don't like violence, but oh, Jesus, you don't mind slavery. You didn't mind when you were injuring merchants by slapping your whip at them and flipping tables. See, you're a hypocrite. Jesus is a hypocrite. Everything else he says, we should dismiss because of that one action. I don't think there is any single person out there that can pass this level of purity check. You know, especially if it's a public speaker. Like if it's a person that's going to speak constantly and this is his entire job, eventually he will say some stupid shit. Some people will say it more abhorrent than others. In the case of Milo Yiannopoulos, it was quite abhorrent. I give you that. But in the case of Jordan Peterson right here, he is promoting a far left opinion. He is promoting a progressive opinion. And my opinion, everyone has an opinion, right? My opinion is that I disagree with it, but this doesn't contradict everything else that he has said. Doesn't contradict the rest of the body of work that he has been put forward. So I'm not going to look for people that I like listening to see if they pass some purity test. It would take more than this for me to stop listening to Jordan Peterson. Like, he would have to do an active effort in order to push leftist ideas that I find unacceptable until I will move away from him. And an example would be Thunderfoot, like my opinion of him. It didn't change suddenly when Thunderfoot was supporting Hillary Clinton. I said, well, maybe just that one thing. And then it's about Brexit, and it's like, well, okay, strike two. And now he's with Kavanaugh and believe the victim type of shit. And like, for me, moving myself away from Thunderfoot was done gradually because he constantly pushed opinions that I disagreed with, and I don't believe he's right on politics. And maybe other people like listening to Thunderfoot. I personally don't enjoy it anymore. I think he is not the type of speaker that I like to listen to. But what I want to say is that the reason I moved away from Thunderfoot is not because he just had one opinion one time, or several opinions several times. No, it's like he moved his entire ideology to the left, and I can't follow him where he went. So that's my point with Peterson. Now, on Twitter, I noticed something interesting, right? There's a lot of people who hate Peterson for different reasons, ideological reasons. Like, I don't think anyone actually hates him for his character. I mean, hell, I don't even know if he has a character to hate. Like, what does he do? The only thing that bothers me is his exaggerated body language. The way he walks and the way, whenever he's thinking, like, he has to literally put his hand on his chin. It's like, very exaggerated body languages. I don't like that shit. But anyway, the reason people don't like him is because of ideology. And there's different groups of people that don't like him from different ideologies. You got the far left, right? Like, obviously, they can't stand him. But then you got centrists like myself, who are atheists. And some of centrists like myself probably grew up in the very Christian America where if you watch Pokemon, you're going to worship Satan. If you listen to heavy metal, you're worshipping Satan. If you play Dungeons and Dragons, that's the devil's game. Like centrists who basically had their entire life dominated by religious moral busybodies. And they don't appreciate the fact that one of the most outspoken and one of the most renowned centrists out there right now, Jordan Peterson, is religious. And he is encouraging religion. And they would prefer if there was someone that was an atheist representing them. So obviously they don't like Peterson because of that. They would like to see him fail so someone else can rise up. And then you get people that are further to the right. You get the people who advocate for white identity and that white people should band together and we should be a white family and all that. And Peterson is against that notion. So again, it is an ideological clash. They can't see eye to eye on things. And they're also upset that Peterson doesn't talk about the Jews and doesn't name the Jews. There's so many live streams done by people on the far end of the right-wing spectrum who are indeed upset that Jordan Peterson doesn't talk about the Jews more. In fact, I think he doesn't even want to address the problem. I remember a video of him on a stage and he was asked and he didn't want to address it. So they would probably wish that Peterson would either join their ideology and he would push their message onto his followers. But usually these people don't understand that if he would do that, like, he would lose all followers. It's almost like the far left, they co-opt comic books and they expect people will still buy them after they inject their ideology into comic books. It doesn't work that way. Jesus fucking Christ, create your own movement. Don't try to latch onto another because it's going to fail if you do that. But they basically also view Peterson as a gatekeeper. They view that their ideology is the only way. And what Peterson is doing is he is pushing a watered-down social justice version, a very watered-down liberal version, and is preventing people from finding the truth or the light. So as I mentioned, there's around three main groups of people that hate Peterson. Um, and when I see something like this, when I see something like this being posted, it's usually these three groups of people that are the most outraged about it. They're the most livid about what Peterson said, and they're the most vocal on the Twitter. So my question is like, really, did this upset you that much, or is it that you were upset of him previously and you're just using this as ammunition, trying to convince other people that he's a bad person? Because by doing this, you're not really denying the rest of his work. You're not really contradicting that what he said is false. You're just saying, well, this person is a milquetoast HJW, so you don't want to support him because maybe he will go on a stage once and start ranting about Kavanaugh. And until I see that, I'm not going to withdraw my support from him. I think it's a good thing that we have Peterson. I wish there were more people like it. I wish more people followed the example, especially from the academic sector. More people from the academia should stand up to this bullying. The thing he does is he exposes these people. This is why I also like Milo Yiannopoulos, by the way. I think they're useful weapons. The reason a lot of progressives manage to infiltrate cultures and they manage to poison everything with their ideology is because they do it subvertly. They're operating in the shadows. Most people don't know about it until it's too late. And people like Peterson and Milo Yiannopoulos and others, they're exposing them to the public. They're showing the public what these people are. You know why these people are bad. I know why these people are bad. But a lot of what we call normies, quote unquote normal people, they don't know. They're not informed. And when you inform the masses of this, is when the masses start reacting to it. I watched the Kavanaugh voting today. And it was surreal to watch an American vote, right, in the Senate. And whenever the door would open, you would hear from outside, shame, 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 and like, what the fuck is that? And then you hear Mike Pence, the Sergeant of Arms, please restore order, blah, blah, blah. I'm really glad that happened, that a lot of people on television get to watch and they see this insanity, because when they're going to express their political opinion in a couple of months, they are going to get to decide, do they want more or less of it? I really enjoy whenever the progressives are being exposed to the public with their attitudes. Because the reason they manage to operate is, my opinion, that most people don't know. So yeah, this is what I think about Peterson. I disagree with what he said. Don't agree with it. The man is entitled to political opinions. Unless he starts saying these things nonstop, and unless this is going to become a daily recurrence, I'm still going to watch him, and I will still encourage people to listen to what he has to say. And again, take into account that people like Peterson and people like Milo Yiannopoulos, they're not for people like my target audience, basically. People who already know about what social justice is doing and they disagree with it. People like Peterson and people like Milo Yiannopoulos are for people who don't understand the effects of progressives, the tactics they use, the way they treat other people, and it's a good wake-up call for them. And I think they fit that role and they do it perfectly well. People who already understand what progressives are doing, they have other choices to go to. They got Steven Crowder, they got channels such as mine and others where they go a little bit deeper into the philosophy of the progressives, into the lore. So yeah, there's that. Let me know what you think. Probably a lot of people will disagree with my opinion, but, well, it's my opinion, so there you go. Tomorrow I'm going to make a very interesting stream about Kavanaugh and the salt. Get your shakers ready, because there's going to be a lot of salt that's coming from it.